the Derby Lightweight 2-car DMU set from Bachmann. We'll be opening this today and fitting DCC chips to it, as well as getting it commissioned. So I'm using one of these, which is DCC Concepts Zen with Keep Alive, which is an 8-pin plug-in chip, together with a Bachmann 6-pin small chip to go in the second unit. So it takes 2 decoders, this one, which makes it a bit hungry in terms of requiring lots of chips. So Derby lightweight unit in green, unit that I've been hoping to get for quite some time. I can remember back to many a journey travelling between Shrewsbury and Crewe on one of these units, and I remember this being the 60s. It was when they used to keep the blinds up so you could have a phenomenal view back over the track. I can remember sitting backwards when I was quite young. So a little bit of nostalgia for this one, which is always good with trains. So without any further ado, we'll open the package up. So familiar Bachmann packaging. So let's take the 2 units out of there. And what else have we got in the box? We've, as usual, got the instructions together with the warranty, which shows an exploded diagram of how to take everything apart, which we'll have to do in a minute. So just having a quick look on that, see any recommendations for DCC fitting. It says there's a screw behind the bogie, so there's a couple of clips on the side to get off as well. So 1 screw to take out and a couple of clips to access the sides. So this is not going to be a comfortable one to take apart, because it's never nice to take apart a brand new locomotive. So let's get on to taking them out of the box. So I'm dispense with a big box at the moment, and checking the weight of them. This one's the dummy, so it's much lighter than the other one, so we'll put that aside for one moment, and then we'll deal with the motor bogie itself. So let's tip them up, move this out of the way. Comes with a collection of parts to add detail on. So slide it out, and we've got some extra coupling parts which we won't be fitting because this will be powered. This will be we'll be using the couplings on it to join it up to another unit, and looks like we've got a collection of etched plates to put on here, which are upside down, so I can't see what they are. So let's turn around in the packet and see what we got there. Oh, they're actually blank. Oh, so they'll be the detectors which were fitted for postal wagons, apparently. So we'll probably not be fitting those. Alright, okay, so there's the unit itself. This is where we get my cradle out to put the unit in. So there's lots of delicate stuff on there, so we'll be extra careful. Fit this over the top first of all, then very gently turn them upside down, so not quite sitting in there properly at the moment. So we'll turn it up that way and out we come. So got the unit upside down, a little bit of oil at the bottom, so we'll get ourselves a cotton bud to clean that one up. Always good when there's been a bit of to ensure that everything's got plenty of oil on there, so we'll just wipe that off to begin with, so a bit of oil settled on the unit once it's been new. So there we have it, power connection from all axles as usual. Nice bit of detail on there. This one says it's on its way to to Hayfield, which I've got no idea where that is, so apologies if you live there. And first of all, what we'll do is should run it round on a track to make sure it works on DCC, but we'll take a cheats way out with this one and use 12-volt power supply on the bench and run it upside down. So giving ourselves a little bit of power to get ourselves going. So let's fit it to these wheels and just check to make sure everything's running quite happily. So making sure we're clear of everything, just tap into this. And just running quite nicely. The lights come on as well, which is good to see. And just check that it runs the other way around. Which I'll do by swapping over the controller, as my wires aren't long enough to reach. So running nicely in both directions, so no problems with that. So we're ready now to take the top off, so let's just turn off the power supply. So let's position it this way. It says there's a screw somewhere, so we'll just have a look to see how that holds the bogies on. Can't see anything there, so it must be at the other end. And there's a couple of clips to get off on this one to just unbox it. So this is where we're going to get some parts to do that with. Right, these are glue spreaders, which we used to school. I think I remember doing. I remember using them. But good ones to just ease down the sides of the locomotive to ease it apart, to get the two parts apart. So we'll just put a couple of those out, ready to remove the body. So, all set now with my 6 side removers ready to go there. We just got to locate this one screw which attaches the body on, and I can just see it's there underneath this part. So we'll just make sure that the rear coupling is safe. So we'll just find a way just to position it so we can actually gain access to the screw, which is a bit more exciting than it's meant to be. So we can just about get the screwdriver in there, I think. No, it's going to require a smaller screwdriver. So let's see if we can get that in there. So really fiddly to get. So using slightly the wrong screwdriver, but out it comes. This is where a pair of even those tweezers comes in handy. Which we've got here, so just put that underneath there, just pick it out and put that screw aside to one side so we don't lose it. Stuck to the tweezers, but there we go. So now it's just a case of quoting the instructions, gently easing the side away, which is always famous last words. So let's see if we can figure out where there's a gap somewhere to get this process started. So yeah, nothing really happening there. So let's try a little bit of gentle pressure on it. No, there we go. We put the first one in, then try get one in the other side. So gently try and ease the side away. Try not to use anything metal on this, just to prevent damaging it. But a bit of a tight fixture. So just ease it gently up there. So now that we're in with those, put another one in, slide that up, so just over that there. So I think we're onto one of the clips. Once you've got one in, it's straightforward because it just sort of helps to ease everything up. So we've got 3 in that side. These will drop away when I ease it out as well, which again is a good feature. And same thing with this, working from the centre out. You can hear the clips coming apart as we go. So just one more to get in there, and then with a bit of luck, we might almost be there for it. So there we are. So then, if I very gently turn this the right way up, and then take my life in my hands, just slowly ease it upwards. Bit of movement at the front end, that seems okay. Back seems a little bit caught. So let's just slide that up a little bit. And just try a little bit of pressure, just see where it's catching. That's not quite off enough there. Let's just ease that up there. Yeah, that seems to be that side. Same thing there. This is a very tight fit. So, yeah. Not moving at all there. I'm just wondering if there's a screw at the other end holding it in place at this point. Not supposed to be, but let's try moving it a bit. See if we get it to move a little bit further out. So just waggle it a little bit. Always very scary at this moment in time. So trying desperately not to do any damage. So it's not having much of it. So let's just have a check down the side. See if we're going all right there. Just having another look to see if there's a screw holding it this end. Can't see anything. Looks okay from that end. And just making sure we're all right there. No, there's no movement. So check back on the instructions. So showing the 6 clips there, just making sure that all the clips are okay. Maybe a couple at the front we've got. So let's have another go. Try and turn up the other way, and again, so you've got some movement from the front. So let's take the lid off for the moment, and then just waggle it a little bit. So not going anywhere very much. So there's a clip here at the front. So if we just get those in there. It's nice and loose at the front, just doesn't want to let go. So the front's coming out, that's fine. Oh. So just the clip's holding it on this side, the front. Again, very fiddly trying to get this to come out. So a bit of movement, but still making slow progress. Oh, that was it. And then I think we were quite out to the clips at the back, so just prise it a little bit. There we are, so the front's come out now. And just check that we're moving okay at the back, so just ease it up now. Oh, looks like we've actually got the plastic inside is sort of stuck, so quite sure what's going on there. So we'll take these off, just ease those off there, I think the sides have caught on the clips. So we're cleaning out on this side. It's just this one got a little bit of a problem. Let's just lift that up there. Alright, yes. So the plastic inside seems to have caught on this side, so we'll just push that back up. Hopefully no damage done. We'll find out in a minute when we get the top off. So nearly there. Let's do this very so gently because sometimes there's wires inside. Never having taken one of these apart before. Not quite sure what to find. So up we go. Oh, and there's two spring contacts there. So we come off a little bit off here, so the sides come loose. So hopefully that will go back into place when it goes down. So set that side to one point. So this is where we look for the blanking plug for the. And there's there's where the LED needs to go, or where the chip needs to go in rather. So having identified that, let's discard the side movers. We won't need those for the time being. So just take off about 6 or 7 millimeters of insulation off each end. Then from the stay alive capacitor, a little bit of a longer length on there, and coil the wire first. So again, 6 or 7 millimeters off. A little bit of insulation has already been removed from these, but we will take those off. So just pull that insulation off. So there we have nice couple of millimeter on there. So always important, put your heat shrink sleeving on first. It's very difficult to do this afterwards because you have to unsolder it to do that. So always fit those first, and these will support the joints once they're made. Weakest points in this are always going to be the actual joints themselves. So connect blue wire to blue wire and then wrap them around each other to make a nice strong bond. So best to make a nice strong physical joint to make sure that the solder will take really well, and then there's still something there to hold it. So I'm just twisting the two wires around each other. Oh, and they've come undone. So let's have another go. So I'll just twist one wire over the other one. It's been fiddly today. So do the same thing with this one. Wires over each other. Try and lock them round each other so that they hold on to each other. So both wires are twisted around each other. So that's a bit better now. That's a better joint than the first one. So same thing with the two black wires. About halfway overlap. Then wrap one over one over the other side, and so on round. So give them a nice couple of turns. So there we have two nice wrap-ins. Then using the solder stand just to support them whilst we solder them up. So just try and keep the decoders well out of the way, keep the soldering iron well away from them, or the possibility of solder dropping onto the chips. So we're ready to solder now. So the soldering iron should be nice and hot, which it is. Just test the soldering iron with a bit of solder on the tip, just make sure it melts, which it is, nice and freely flowing. Usual cloud of flux as it melts. And I'll just lower my lamp down here to just see that I'm making a good joint. So trick to this is not very much solder, just enough to coat everything in terms of making sure that's there, and just run it gently along there. And same for the other joint, a little bit of solder on there. So there we go, just run it along the wire. And a little bit of a blob on that one. soldering iron, it should pick that up. There we go. That will do nicely. Just use a pair of pliers, just take the heat out of the two joints, make sure they're fine. And final thing to do now is to connect the two halves together by using heat shrink sleeving. So slacken off the joint a little bit there, move the joint till it's in the middle, then we'll just put that gently there to stop that moving. Second use for soldering iron, just move it gently up from this end, which will then shrink the tube over the top of it. So coat it all the way around, nice bit of heat on there just to fill it in. This way your pliers come in to make sure that we get everything. So just hold that on there, just melt that insulation against it. It makes it nice and tight. Lots of support for the joint inside there. Just make sure you get every side so that it shrinks quite easily around it. So there we have it. That's a good one. And same thing with the other joint. So just move this on over the top of that there. Just need to move this ever so slightly on there. Get the solder line again and repeat the operation in terms of just shrinking the heat shrink sleeving onto it. So I'm not using the tip of the soldering iron for this, but halfway up the shoulder, so make sure we don't get any solder on itself, which will be on the tip of the iron. And just a little tweak around there, and that should be it. So there we have it, two nice little joints. So we've got our Zen chip there, together with its keep alive connected up to it, all nicely insulated with two solder joints, nicely crimped, heat shrink sleeved, so nice and strong there. So there we are, all ready to be installed in the device. So just get a screwdriver underneath this, just gently prise this away. Lift in at both ends just to make sure you get nice and even, and take the blanking plug out. So that's now come out, and as of course drop down inside it to make it nice and awkward. So we'll just get a pair of pliers, which are essential, tweezers rather, to get that out. So there we got our socket. And what I'm looking for here is to make sure, see where it's numbered number 1, which as always is no clue. So just need to have a look at my light just to see what's happening there. So no real clues at all, but we'll get our chip and see how it fits. So a little bit of a problem here because it doesn't fit nicely within the area. So the chip's a little bit wide to go between these two metal contacts at the top. So that's nice and exciting. What we may need to do is to perhaps look for another clip to put on it, perhaps a little bit of a socket. So a bit difficult in terms of knowing which one's the right way up. Pin 1 there, and I think it says 4 on that one. So probably needs to go in this way round, but we have a little bit of a problem with these stick up bits of contact, which are power the LEDs at the top. So just having a look at the panels inside to see how best to fit this. Maybe that this is not the best DCC chip to go in this one. In fact, let's have a look and see what other hardware we've got. So yeah, back again, just having a look to see how we can fit this in. So if we do manage to get that in there, that will fit in there quite happily, I think. So just mentioning for size, looks like we may have a problem with these little tabs being in the way. So thank you, Bachmann. This makes it nice and difficult to fit chips in it. So just wondering what we'll have to do here. Curiously, I have plenty of space on the top for the keep alive rather. So plenty of space on the top for the keep alive, and also plenty of space to actually mount the chip. So what we may have to do is just make a little socket to join it all up. So once we set up for the soldering iron, we'll just have a little pause. So here we are back again, and what I've done is soldered on a connection to the bottom of the DCC decoder, but probably better to use a flat decoder, which is a decoder which is more that size than I've had to do with this one. So this is probably a bit big to fit in there, so if you are doing one of these models, make sure you get a nice small encoder to fit inside it. So checking that we're getting this right, we'll put it in this way around. So just putting the orange wires in. So line that up nicely, and then we'll just slide this in. And we managed to get all of it properly. So just making sure we've got all the pins aligned before we push it in, which is a little bit fiddly. So yeah, looking good there, and yes, all those wires are in. So before we do any more, we'll need to just test to make sure that this is working. So here we are over the test track. So the decoder is of course set to the default 3, so let's just try to see if it works. So turn up the power. Oh yep, we're working in that direction. So just swap direction on that one, and 3 is working quite nicely on that way as well. So job's a success. So all we've got to do now is put it back together again. So here we are back on the workbench. So we just need a little bit of this, which is black tack, to just hold everything down, and we just need to make a bit of sense of these wires. So we'll just move these out of the way. So we'll want to stick our chip down first, so we'll try and fit that in there, so that will work quite nicely, just about clearance I think when we put the top on. Let's have a look at our little pack here, which isn't going to fit in there, so we're going to have to mount it there I think, and then just coil these wires up on it. So let's get a little bit of the black tack, and we'll attach we'll stick down the battery first, sorry, the capacitors, the stay alive, keep alive section. So let's just get that all there, nice big blobbit all over it, and we'll stick that there, which is on top of the motor, nicely tight down there. Then all we've got to do is just tie these wires up a little bit, so we'll coil them back around on each other, and yeah, that's looking like a fairly good installation there. So having got those there, they can sit nicely in there. So now it's just a case of, let's put some black tack on the bottom of this one, and then we can stick that down, and then we'll look at attaching the wires. So I've got this black tack out, we'll just then fit that over the bottom, which will help to protect our electrical connections we got there as well. Make sure we don't touch any of the metal work with it. So fit that in there, just stick that on the top there like that, so that's sitting there nicely. A little bit of a problem with these wires, so we might put a bit of tape over those just to hold them in place. So let's go and find some tape. So now time to put the top back on, which is the reverse of taking it off, of course. So now that everything's in, everything's nicely taped down, so just a case of doing the opposite, just to very gently ease this back in. So we'll try and get in the side where the windows are going a bit loose. So just dropping them down slightly. So just got to try and keep this lined up as we go. And then we'll just need to urge it over the over the bits that are going to hold it in place. So getting down there too far, so we just need to slide that back a little bit, I think. So got down as far as the little, tab, so just a little bit of easing just to get that over the top there. Always a fraught moment. So I think we're just a bit misaligned at the back there, because we're caught on these back tabs. So we just need to slide the whole thing forward perhaps. There we go. So just line those up with the back ones, so that's looking good. So gently ease it in. We're a little bit stuck here somewhere. So just a little bit of help just to line that up. So just catching on the plastic tabs on the side. So we can see some. So my white tape's not going to do very well. So I see that's visible through the window. So we're going to have to replace that with some black tape. So let's take the top off before we go any further, and just get that white tape off. So what we ended up doing is put some black tack on there instead. So we've dispensed with the white tape, which means we should be sound now when we look through the windows. So just a case now of put the top back on and ease that down once again. So this time trying to line it up as best we can. So just making sure everything's in there quite nicely. I think before I proceed any further, I must just stick in this side, which I seem to be loosened slightly. So we'll just get a little touch of super glue on this just to get this right. So just a little blob on there just to hold it in place. So that should be sufficient. So in we go, push those windows in, nice bit of pressure. So put that super glue on, and that's all nice and tight now. We're okay the other side, so time to ease the top back on. So again, nice and gently. So we've got the black tack holding everything in place. So fingers crossed this will be it this time. So just trying to line it up properly, making sure everything fits as expected. So just getting caught a little bit on the sides as we go. So just ease those bits in, then just lining it up a bit. There we are. So that's in towards the back. Push the front in a bit. So just getting caught on the side, so just ease this gently in. So yeah, just catching a little bit on where these clips need to go. So there we go. Reassuring clunk as it goes in. So let's just lift it up a little bit. It needs to come back just a touch for these to slot into place. So we're nearly there. Just need this bit of the back to come up. Always very awkward. So we'll just use a little bit of these clips just to ease the pressure off, so we can line it up properly there. So that's looking good there. We just need one at the front as well. So figure out where the front clip is. So he's by there. So yeah, we're looking good for that one. And on this side, same thing again. Just ease it up away from the side. And then just get it in beside the clip. Clips need to go. Let's get our other two. So just checking where this clip fits. Yep, that's looking good there. And then final one is just here. So now that we got those there, should just be a case of push gently down. Bring the body in a little bit closer. There we are. Just in the back. Just a little bit. Just a little bit of a fit here. So just move that side over and up there as well. Just need to ease it in at the back. So hopefully our chip's not holding it up in the way, otherwise we may have a bit of a problem. So early in, I think we just mislined that slightly. Back just a little bit. Yeah. That should be it now, hopefully. factor. Maybe got a bit of a problem. Maybe something's sat up just a bit too far. So let's have a look. Let's just push some of these bits and pieces down a bit. So we'll just slide him over a bit. Just make sure he's not sticking out. Same thing with the wires. Push this down a little bit. Just make sure we lower everything down. So let's try that then. Yeah, reassuringly horrible clunking. Not. Nothing holding it there other than possibly it feels like the chip's in the way. You can't quite see what's going on back, so off again. I might have to just try losing a little bit of height with this. Make sure we get that down as tight as we possibly can. So let's see if that's any better. Not the easiest things in the world to get back together, these. But, come on, you little devil, here you go. See down the front this time. So let's have a pause or see watch this. So a little bit of a strange configuration there. I just had to put the chipper on this side and then put the keep alive in there. I think that's what was keeping the top off. So we'll have a look and see if that does the trick. That proved to be the right thing to do. So finally got everything back in there. You can just see the decoder at this end, unfortunately, but Hopefully that won't show up too much when it's on the layout. We might cover it, get some black tape to cover it over at some point, but yeah, all back together again now, so all ready to run on the layout.